What's up, everyone? This is a Nosebleed Perspective. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to do a little bit of a Overreaction Monday. This is going to be released on Tuesday, but um, some crazy things happened this weekend. Dak suffers a gruesome injury. I could feel the depression and sadness just seeping through my timeline for all the Cowboys fans. The Dolphins beat the absolute shit out of the 49ers. 49ers, we'll talk about them, but are they dead? Because they do not look good right now, and they have about everyone playing almost that's going to play this year, and not enough people are talking about that. I don't know if the Super Bowl gets them that pass, but whatever. The Chiefs, they get smacked in the mouth by the Raiders. The Falcons stink, and they finally made some moves after an 0-5 start. The Rams decide to just beat the hell out of Alex Smith and get 8 sacks yesterday, possibly making him rethink his decision to come back. But on to some good. Cleveland Browns, Cheech, your guys had a rough start, but they're on to 4-1. We have Monday Night Football tonight, a good matchup, Saints Chargers. America also gets to witness Tuesday Night Football, which is going to be glorious. But yeah, today I'm joined by Cheech himself, a man wandering the countryside of Germany, a man who's suffering each week as a Jets fan, but someone who is beating Vegas 5 weeks into the season. He's over 500 in his pick'ems, leading the way with me and Gibby and Cheech. We have a bet on that, so congrats on that. So things are looking up for you. Things are good. Our humble counterpart Gibby today, he's not with us. So Cheech, we're I'd say the dramatics of the group. So let's overreact. How you doing?
I'm good, and I'm ready to overreact. I'm ready for it. This was a good week of football. A lot of reactions to be had after this week.
Oh yeah, Gibby's not here to slow us down.
So, nope.
All right, so let's hop into it. So we talked about the Cowboys, or we talked about them, but let's give our thoughts. The Cowboys, oh man, Dak Prescott, gruesome injury. It really sucks to see someone like that go down. Especially, I mean, you have to feel for the guy playing for his contract. Allegedly turns down 30 to 35 million a year this offseason. This year he's on a franchise tag. He's getting about, I think it's like 31, $32 million guaranteed, which is good for him. So regardless, he'll be set. But what's in store for the future? Can the Red Rifle win them some games, or what are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I think that the Red Rifle is going to win them some games. I mean, I know he came into the game last night, but he now has as many wins as Dak Prescott this season. So there you go, like right there. They both have one win. Andy Dalton is not a bad quarterback. He was just on a really bad football team. So I think that given the weapons that Dak has around him, Andy Dalton's going to look pretty good. Obviously, he's not as mobile, but clearly Dak isn't that mobile either if he's blowing his ankle out. But Andy Dalton's not that mobile of a guy. But I think that the Cowboys are going to be perfectly fine, if not a little bit better, because they don't have all this hype and these expectations of the guy. And I mean, immediately after it happened, between our group chat and my other fantasy football group chats, every conversation was how much money the Cowboys just saved, but because of Dak getting his ankle just absolutely destroyed. I mean, let's face it, he's trying to be a $40 million quarterback. He's on the franchise tag this year. That's why he turned down 35 last year. He felt like it wasn't enough. This injury is going to save the Cowboys so much money, and it could also project Andy Dalton's career into the right direction and possibly make him a starter next year, maybe for the Jets. Who knows? But I think that only good is going to come from this injury for all parties.
Well, except Dak, I would say.
I mean, okay, yeah. I guess Dak is the ultimate loser here. He's in a little bit of pain and all that stuff, but he'll be fine.
I just wonder what was going through his head whenever that happened. I think it was Tony Romo was calling the game, and I think I was talking to you about it. But when like the camera was just set on his foot and his ankle or his leg or whatever that was, it was just like completely shattered out of place. And Tony Romo was like, "Oh, looks like a cramp maybe. Got some cramps here." I'm like, dude, I think his leg is snapped in half right there. So
his ankle is being held on by the skin. And old Tony Romo just
And then like the camera just pans to Andy Dalton, and it looks like a toddler. Parents trying to put clothes on him. He's like getting his pads all fixed in. I'm like, he looks like it's just stuck like this. It was pretty hilarious in that regard with on QB2, not QB1 for Dak. But yeah, it's just crazy to kind of think about the money he turned down and oh god, it's just the guarantees. Hopefully for his sake, the Cowboys, Jerry Jones treat him well. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. I think they said it was like 6 months max total recovery time. So obviously done for the year, but maybe next year, the year after that, he can go play again. But it's a tough injury, man. It's a foot that's you never know how these athletes are going to rebound, especially in a sport like football. So.
Yeah. I mean, especially if he ends up having some screws or some rods in there, keeping it held all together. Yeah, he won't be the same, but obviously this is the NFL. They've got great doctors, great surgeons, and everything like that. They've got all the money in the world for their healthcare. So I'm sure Dak will come back fine, and the Cowboys will save a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because my wife Kate, she was watching that game with me at the time that happened. She just so happened to like look up and she was like, "Oh my God, is that his leg?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that is." I was like, "Oh." She was like, "I don't think he's going to be able to play next game." I was like, "Nope, honey, you're right. He is not." So
yeah, solid observation there.
Yeah, it was hilarious, but yeah, just T's and P's out to him, I suppose. Cowboy fans, I don't think your season's set back as much as maybe you might initially think, just because that division is so weak. And I think the Red Rifle can get you to about 6 to 8 wins, and that's all you need to win this division and go to the playoffs with an experienced veteran quarterback too.
Yeah, they're 2-3 leading the division right now. They're fine. They're fine.
They'd be in the playoffs today right now if it started. So
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens over there in Dallas, Jerry World. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to Atlanta Falcons. So they come out. First off, let's give a little praise to the Panthers. I mean, their win total is up to what you think. I think you picked them at 3 wins or something, right?
I did. Yeah, I had them at 3-13. I don't see them losing their next 11 games, so they're in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah,
I apologize, Panthers fans.
Yeah, shout out to them, Corey. If you're listening, We'll have to get you on again and kind of say, "Haha, I told you so." I think I had them at 6 wins or something like that, so that's possible. But they look, decent, and you never know with the NFC South, Atlanta being Atlanta, and with all the drama in New Orleans right now, who knows? Maybe they slip up and they're not going to make the playoffs. But anyway, yeah. So the Falcons, anyway, they beat the Falcons yesterday. Obviously, the Falcons fire their head coach Dan Quinn and the GM, so they're kind of cleaning house finally. Falcons fans rejoice because I feel like they've been calling for this for a couple of years now. So. I mean, do you have any issues? Obviously, you probably don't after an 0-5 start. They have not been the same without Kyle Shanahan. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty shocking, honestly, to me that the Falcons are 0-5. Like, I don't think that going into the season, anyone could have predicted the Falcons not winning a single game in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah, especially the opponents they've had too. I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, looking at our like preseason breakdown, I had them beating the Cowboys. It just went crazy on me.
Well, they should beat the Cowboys. They should have beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, I had them beating the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Panthers. So I was clearly very wrong. I'm sure that the entire world is very wrong on the Falcons right now. So it's a good move. I think any coach that can't wrangle his team into playing 4 good quarters of football deserves to be fired.
Yeah, it's hey, by the way, you got Todd Gurley in fantasy, right?
I do, yeah. So the Todd father went off last night. That was great.
He's had a couple good games. He has like 5 or 6 touchdowns this year. So.
Yeah. He's one of the league leaders in touchdowns. So I mean, he was a solid pickup for me in fantasy. He had a slow start to the season. I mean, he's averaging like 14 to 16 points a game, which is solid. So
Yeah, can't complain. I think he was probably going third, fourth, fifth round. So third,
yeah.
fourth, maybe. Yeah. So on that, I mean, yeah, Falcons fans, congrats on the firing there. That leads us into a little bit of Mr. Adam Gase and the Jets. What's going on? They take another beating by a team who just lost to the Lions the previous week. Do you think maybe? I mean, how many losses do they have to take before they look at Adam Gase and they say, "Hey, get the hell out"? Like, where does it start? What do you have to do? How many games do you have to fucking lose?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like it's almost – I feel like they're just going to go the whole season with him and just absolutely torture us fans. I don't know how many games you can give up 30-plus points because the last 4 games the Jets have given up 30-plus points. The Jets are not scoring. It's pathetic. I mean, the Broncos put up almost 40 on us. The Jets are just a really bad football team right now, and nothing. I mean, yesterday Bell was back in there. He didn't do much, but it was good to see Bell back on the field.
Yep.
But the Gaze just is such a bad coach, and I mean, there's petitions out there for him to get fired. Last week after the Broncos game, immediately after the game, they put out a press conference saying that he's not getting fired because of that loss. Like the ownership and management knows that this is what the fans want and that this is what is deserved. I mean, now the Jets are 0-5. Maybe if the Dolphins beat up on us next week, we'll see him getting fired. I could see that happening. I mean, it's in Miami and they just beat up on the 49ers. So they're riding a good high right now. But I don't know what it's going to take, man. And, like, I don't think that Darnold is the problem because obviously Joe Flacco couldn't get much going yesterday either. So even if the Jets tank and go 0-16, Trevor Lawrence isn't going to be the savior of the team because we don't need a quarterback. We need a coach. We need a coach. We need some fucking skill players. We need a bunch of things. Quarterback isn't the problem.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that you have some players on defense who, CJ Mosley opting out really hurts. I mean, you guys have you signed CJ Mosley, which had to be somewhat exciting. He was a
definitely
good linebacker in Baltimore, and then he I think he was hurt the first game of the season last year, the first or second game, and then he opts out. So it's just 2 years just gone with CJ Mosley. You lose Jamal Adams. It's just tough. I do feel bad for you. It's got to be tough to watch just seeing that guy come out there and just be a stooge on the sideline. But yeah, I mean, hey, Jamison Crowder goes over 100 yards. Mekhi Becton has looked pretty good. I think I don't know if he played yesterday. Honestly, I didn't watch that game, but he tried to play the week before. He came in for a few plays and then his shoulder was messed up or something. But if you all haven't signed the petition, it's on Anthony Chiquino's Facebook page. Make sure you do that.
Please
support
sign.
our co-host here. Well, we talked about the Jets who just lost to the Cardinals this week. Do you think that the Arizona Cardinals are, back on track? You're a big Cardinals believer this year before the season. Do you think this win can kind of, boost them up? They're at 3-2 now, I believe, right?
Yeah, 3-2 now. Honestly, shocking. I think that their 2 losses were just trash. So you mentioned them losing to the Lions. That was an awful game out of them. I don't know if they got derailed. I know that I think that one of the topics you and Gibby talked about before the start of this week, or maybe after the games last week, was are the Cardinals off track? I think the Cardinals are exactly where they need to be right now. They're still figuring out who they are and how they play together. And Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins had another monster week connecting with each other this week. So I think the Cardinals are going to be fine. They've got 4 more losses this season. That's all I'm giving them is 4 more losses. So I still think they're going to be a 10-6 team.
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just that division is so tough. There's a lot of L's. I think I kind of talked about in one of the episodes that they're going to take in the division because they haven't played a divisional opponent. I don't think. Don't quote me on that, but
I mean, they beat the Niners, but that was
oh
it.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You're right. So hey, but the Niners look like shit right now.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just the Cardinals they kind of needed this game. It's like when Alabama comes out and plays the Citadel week 1 of college football and they just win 59 to 3. They needed a little tune-up game. Re-kick, get some confidence. And I'm not out on the Cardinals, but well, I just in that division in the NFC, it's just I don't think that they're going to get that playoff spot. But 10 wins, I hope they don't get there just because our bet. But yeah. All right. So Gibby's not here, so he can't talk about this, which is probably for the best, but I think he's okay. The Raiders upset the Chiefs yesterday. It was a really good, fun game to watch, too, if you got a chance to watch it. Should we be worried about Kansas City in any kind of fashion at all?
I don't think so. I mean, they're such a monster team. Yeah, their defense took a week off. Derek Carr had a hot game. I don't think that this is a problem for the Chiefs, and this isn't going to be a recurring thing. Chiefs fans, you can relax. Like Aaron Rodgers said a few years ago, relax. This is just one loss against a team that they just had a good day. The Raiders are a team that they're not bad. Like, it's not like the Chiefs lost to the Giants or the Jets. The Chiefs lost to a decent team. So I think everything's going to be fine in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said every week, I think the Raiders are a bad football team. But, they come out and they've won a couple games so far. This was a big win for them. John Gruden over there, they have a good O-line. They have some players on defense. And, I mean, we saw him go deep to Henry Ruggs a few times. And dude's fast. But I think it's just that Super Bowl – I wouldn't say hangover, but I would just say like Gibby kind of mentioned, just falling asleep at the wheel just a little bit. It's going to happen after you win a Super Bowl and you're just like, all right, come on, let's get through these 16 games until the playoffs start. But they could be in jeopardy for that 1 seed. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun to watch that since there is only one bye. And I think the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl last year, it's going to be big time for them to get that bye this year.
Yeah, definitely. They do have a target on their back, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the season goes out. I don't think that anybody expected the Chiefs to go 16-0 this year. Definitely close to it. I think that we had them like 14-2, 13-3. Like, we had them close to it. But yeah, for them to drop a major game like this, we're less concerned about the Chiefs as the Chiefs organization and more concerned now, like, how is this going to play into that 1 bye seed? Like, because we know that they're going to be a top contender.
Yeah. I mean, I just think we shouldn't overthink it or overreact to this one as much.
Yeah, exactly. If they drop another one next week, then it's like, ooh, what are the Chiefs doing?
I know, and then in a close call in overtime against Justin Herbert-led, Air Bear-led Chargers. So we can kind of take all those 3 things if they lose another one that they shouldn't lose, and then we can move forward from there and give you on the hot seat.
We can have a reaction.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And they play the Bills next week too, so that'll be a good one.
Oh, yep. Good point. They were supposed to play Thursday Night Football. That's going to be moved to Sunday because of all the COVID issues and all their rearrangements and there was like 6 or 7 games that got moved around and shifted. So make sure if you're looking to see a certain team play, make sure you look at the schedule next week or over the next few weeks because they moved some stuff around. Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's go back to the NFC West and AFC East also. Ryan Fitzmagic and the Dolphins. They came to play in San Francisco yesterday, and they beat the hell out of the 49ers so bad that they benched Jimmy Garoppolo. They kind of the announcer said that it was to protect him coming off an injury, but boy, did he look terrible. He was 7 for 17. He had 77 yards with 2 just atrocious interceptions, and I think he had a QBR of 15 or 16 or something crazy like that. It was tough to watch, but it made me happy. Should we start worrying about the 49ers, Cheech? What do you think?
I think so. I think after seeing how the 49ers have been this season, I don't think that they are the NFC one-spot contender that we thought they were. And I mean, at this point, being 2-3, 5 weeks into the season, they most likely won't be. They should just be setting their eyes on a wild card spot because they're more than likely not going to win that division, especially with the way that the Seahawks are playing and the way that the Rams are playing. So I think that for the 49ers, they should be worried. 2 losses in a row, 2 losses to – if you before the season told any 49ers fan that they were going to lose to the Eagles and the Dolphins in back-to-back weeks, everybody would laugh at you.
Yeah, I think they were number one on all of our power rankings before the season?
I believe so, yeah.
I think so. I know I had them number one. But yeah, like you said, they're almost at full strength as much as they're going to get. Nick Bosa's done for the season. That defense is pretty much healthy. And the offense still, they might have, people coming back and they're a little banged up, but we're here to overreact and they stink. They look bad. The running game is what keeps them just so dominant. And, Mostert came in, he ran for like a good, 80, 90 yards or something. So he's coming off injury. He'll be a little better and get back to health. But it's just, if you don't have a quarterback who's, playing well, and Jimmy G, he's kind of been like this throughout his career. He'll have a couple good games, and then, so maybe we shouldn't overreact, but 2-3, losing to the Dolphins by almost 30 points is something to not. Yeah. That's a red flag. Just hitting you in the face again. Yeah, and they're about to go into some division games. They got the Rams Sunday night. I'm excited about that. Sunday night football will be interesting. That's going to be a big game for both these teams. If the Rams win, that's a good look for them going forward, trying to keep up with the Seahawks. And just for the team, I think it'll be good because the only teams we've played this year we just beat the shit out of the whole NFC East. Well, we didn't beat shit. Giants kind of gave us fits for some reason. But yeah, so it'll be a big game. So.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this goes. And Nick Bosa couldn't be that big of an anchor on this defense that this is now why they're losing so bad. I mean, because after he got injured against the Jets, they beat the shit out of the Giants, and then they just had 2 really bad weeks, offensively and defensively. So I don't know if Raheem Mostert and Nick Bosa are the reasons that this team is losing. They need to look themselves in the mirror and figure something out because, they are on a terrible path right now. They need to go to the NFC East where they'd be number 1 in the division. But
yeah, and I said it before the game. I don't think it matters who. I don't know. I'm just not sold on Jimmy G. So I don't think it matters who's playing quarterback. C.J. Beathard came in there and looked decent. Mullins has even came in there and looked decent at times. So whatever it is, they got to figure it out. I think they will to an extent, but just a rough start like this going into a tough division is going to be it's going to be tough sledding here on out for the 49ers.
Yeah, they should not have gone 2-2 after playing the Jets, Giants, Eagles, and Dolphins. They should
exactly. All right, so let's move to your Cleveland Browns. So after the first couple weeks, you were jumping off the train. You kind of were just humbled a little bit with the Browns, but now they reel off a couple of wins in a row. Are you back on the Cleveland bandwagon?
I am. I mean, so when the Browns were 2-1, and they had a shit game against the Bengals and didn't look great against Washington, I was kind of fired up and was talking down about the Browns. And then they just came out and they put up almost 50 against the Cowboys, put up 32 on the Colts. I'm back on it, man. The Browns are 4-1. Nobody would have known that. Nobody would have guessed that was going to happen. Now they got the Steelers are 4-0, the Ravens are 4-1, the Browns are 4-1. That division is hot, and the Browns are on top of it.
Yeah, I think you could say that division is probably better than the NFC West at this point. At this point in the season, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be tough though when they I mean, they got to play Baltimore again. They still had to play the Steelers twice.
Yeah.
The Bengals, they barely beat the Bengals the first time, so I don't know.
They got the Steelers next week, so we
Yep.
see how next week's gonna be a lot of good games.
I know, yeah. I think I'm going to miss a little bit of red zone. I'll be coming home from San Diego, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the Browns go. I think I picked them to have 7 or 8 wins, just enough to be like right on the outside of the playoff. So I'm not like just saying the Browns, suck and they weren't. But it's going to be tough, going forward. But they do look good. I think they wanted to, they're finally becoming this run offense, and against the Cowboys especially. Like I said, they scored 49 points against the Cowboys. Baker Mayfield threw for under 200 yards. That's just a testament to that running game. But yesterday, Baker Mayfield came out slinging that thing, and he dropped some dimes. I will give him that. He looked pretty good. Odell, I think, had a nice throw too.
Yeah.
So you never know what wide receiver is going to come out and drop a dime too. So
yeah, 2 weeks in a row now. Jarvis last week, Odell this week. I mean, they got everybody can play quarterback on that team. Everybody can play running back too, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Running backs.
They're not really missing Nick Chubb at this moment. But hey, let's talk about real quick sidebar. Let's talk about the Colts game yesterday. So I know they beat the Colts. Colts were 3-1. They were looking good the past few weeks. Great defense. They no taking that away from them. They did good, but going against that defense. But Phillip Rivers was just giving them lobs left and right. Every time the Colts were like getting close again, they were within 7 points. Phillip Rivers would just throw the worst ball. I mean, every time he just pick, sack, and then like just terrible reads. They paid him $25 million. Are you worried about the Colts at all?
No. Well, yeah. So I'm worried about the Colts as yes. I'm worried about the Colts. I'm not worried about the Colts as like a Jets fan because I think that
yeah. I'm just like for their sake going forward.
Yeah, for the Colts. Oh yeah. I'm worried about the Colts for sure. Phillip Rivers proved when he was in San Diego, Los Angeles, that he's washed up. He's past his prime. He's over. He's done. And so I feel bad that the Colts are going to ride out this season with him and have him for, I believe it was a 2-year that they signed him on. So it's going to be tough for them. I mean, that whole offense, though, is just T.Y. Hilton. There were a couple passes to him that just looked like he didn't even want to catch them. The rest of the wide receivers on that team are just I don't know where they came from. I don't know what schools they went to.
It looked like Rivers was trying to, because Hilton's been kind of down this year, but it looked like he was just trying to force the ball to him a few times yesterday, and it just did not pay off. I don't know. It's just tough to watch. I don't know if we've all seen Phillip Rivers go into the fourth quarter, have a decent game, and then them be close and him just dick the dog. So I don't know. Maybe at one point do we start talking about Jacoby Brissett, who has played well. He's played bad too, but at the same time, you're looking at Rivers, who's not mobile. He's not clutch. So maybe they look at him at some point in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, I think that the Colts dip below 500. It's something that they have to do. They got some. You can call them toss-ups coming up. Their schedule isn't difficult for the next couple of weeks. If they lose 2 more in a row, I could see Brissett coming in. Except they just have the Ravens coming up soon too. So I don't know. Do you go with the veteran against the Ravens, or do you go with the young kid? I don't know. But that team needs some work, and I picked them to win that division. So they definitely need some work. Luckily, it's a really boring division.
Yeah, I mean, we have a small sample size right now of the Titans since they had to miss a week, but they are playing Tuesday night football, so that'll be interesting to watch. So we'll see what they're made of and see where that AFC South is going, because the Texans stink, the Jaguars stink, and it's pretty much up to those two.
Wonder if there's going to be a Tuesday night football song, like there's a Sunday night and a Monday night football. Maybe they'll get a new jingle for Tuesday.
Yeah. You could start trending. Yeah. Feel bad for all those shows that by the way, shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers, won the finals yesterday. But I mean, I wonder, so Sunday Night Football is the most viewed show, televised event every year, all the time, by like a landslide. I bet an elimination game was like way behind Sunday Night Football in views last week. I mean, football is just dominant in America, so a lot of people were watching a undefeated team play a 1-3 team over NBA Finals and LeBron. So
yeah, I mean, it was the same. It was the same with the NHL Finals too. I think that the NHL, like the game that the Lightning won the cup, had like 2 million viewers, and like Dancing with the Stars had like 16 million viewers. So
yeah, Kate was watching that, so
yeah.
As well, that's not for Dancing with the Stars had Carol Baskins though, so that's probably played a part in that at that time.
Yeah, bigger deal than the Stanley Cup. Yeah.
Oh, Carol Baskins, 100% bigger deal than the Stanley Cup Finals. So, all right. Anyway, we have. So we'll move on to tonight's game. Last thing we'll kind of hit on. Monday Night Football tonight. The Los Angeles Chargers play the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas, wide receiver who's been hurt the past few weeks, punches his teammate in the mouth. Gardner Johnson, I think he's a safety. Couple years in the league, young guy. Do you think that has any impact on this game? I think the spread when we locked it in was Saints -9, so that's what we're rolling with. But it's gone down to like -7, I believe, for the Saints since Thomas is out. What are your expectations for this game? Do you like Saints, Chargers, Herbert, Breeze? What do you think?
Well, first of all, on Michael Thomas, what a clown. And if I were any Saints fan, like, you should be mad right now. This dude just missed a couple of games with an injury, comes back, and now he's punching teammates. Like, come on, dude. You're a professional athlete. You're a grown-ass man. Like, act like it. It'll obviously hurt the Saints. I have the Saints for my pick'ems. I think it's going to be tougher now, and I think that if I would have made the pick knowing Michael Thomas wasn't going to be playing, I might have gone with the Chargers. But the Chargers are also kind of banged up right now too. So I think that either way, this is not going to be an exciting game. That's for sure. It won't be the kind of shootout that Justin Herbert versus Tom Brady was. I think this is going to be a quieter, lower scoring game.
That's fair. I mean, Thomas being out definitely does play a role. Sorry that we did lock in our stuff at 9 points. I'm glad I picked the Chargers for that. I think me and Gibby both picked the Chargers.
Yeah, you did.
But I think this could still be a shootout. I mean, the Saints, they had to play the Packers, and they still put up a bunch of points ish, and that both of these defense, so the Saints and Chargers defense, both are pretty good. They have really good players. Marshawn Lattimore, what's his name? The safety, Marcus Williams, for the Saints, and you got Chris Harris over there with the Chargers. Derwin James is out obviously for I think the season, so that's going to play an impact with them going forward. But I think it'll be a good game. Kamara has proven that he is still one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the league right now. So he's going to have his grill on. He's going to be just doing it tonight. And I like the over-under for this game in points is 50.5. I'm going with the under on this. I mean the over, sorry. I just think it's going to be a little more of a shootout. So,
No, I'm 100% on the under on this one. Yeah? I don't see this. Yeah, I don't see this one going. You said 50.5? I don't see.
Yeah.
I can see this being like a 24-14 game. Honestly,
we'll see.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
This podcast will be released tomorrow, which will be Tuesday, and we'll see which one of us is right here. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Justin Air Bear out of Oregon? I know for me, coming out of college, I don't trust any quarterback coming out of the Pac-12, but the dude has come in, and I mean, it doesn't get any more big stage than his first game where he had to come in and play the Chiefs. Took him to overtime, and then he's put up some really big numbers too. He's thrown over 300 yards a couple games. So what are your thoughts on him? I like him. Obviously, I think I have him starting in one of my fantasy leagues, which is irrelevant because Gibby just bodied me this week in both of our leagues that he played me. So, what do you think about old Justin?
Yeah, I like him so far, man. I think it's just the Tyrod Taylor curse. Or like it happened with Baker Mayfield, and now it's happening to Tyrod again with Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
This kid came out there. He showed that he could sling it. He showed that he could play. He's very football smart. And he's got good targets on his team. He's got Keenan Allen, who's going to bail him out and make the spectacular catch. I know Mike Williams got injured. I don't know if he is still injured or not, but
I think he was questionable coming into today, so he might play.
Yeah, but he's got a speedster there. He's got Hunter Henry. He unfortunately lost his check down guy Austin Eckler, but Kelly in the backfield can do it too. So I think that Justin Herbert is surrounded by good enough pieces to make him comfortable in the pocket. And yeah, I like what he's done so far. I have no complaints about him.
Yeah, and that defense is good too. I mean, that D line with Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, they're gonna, keep them in games. The Chargers, I mean, the Los Angeles, even back to San Diego days, they have always been in almost every game. They just can't seem to find a way to win, whether that be on Phillip Rivers or the defense or whatever. But they're going to be in games. That's why I like them. That's why this was actually a lock of the week for me at +9 for the Chargers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Tuesday night football is Buffalo Bills versus Tennessee Titans. Hopefully they play. I think there was more COVID cases that came out of the Titans today again. So
Jesus.
Hopefully they play, because I want to have a special celebration for Tuesday night football. I think it'd just be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But what are your initial thoughts on this game if it does happen? There was no spread released yet, but who do you think wins?
ESPN was showing as Bills -3.5, and I think the Bills are going to win by 14 easily. I feel like the Bills offense is just too good right now, and Josh Allen is just hitting on all cylinders, and Stephon Diggs is just doing exactly what we hoped he would do out there. Everything about this Bills team just is awesome right now, and as a Jets fan, I'm enjoying seeing an AFC East team that's dominant that isn't the Patriots. So, yeah, Bills are gonna wipe the floor with the Titans this week if it happens.
You said Bills -3.5, then, huh?
Yeah, that's what ESPN has right now.
I'm gonna roll with the Titans on this then. Because I think it's gonna be a closer game. I think Derrick Henry has a heyday. That defensive line is kind of just. I don't know. They're really good. They have good players, but they haven't been able to stop the run, in my opinion. So I think it's a field goal game. So that at 3.5, if it was 2.5, I'd probably roll with the Bills. But 3.5, I'm going to go Titans here.
Nice. So I'll add it right now with the -3.5.
All right, we'll get Gibby's thoughts, but I'm going to go Titans. But yeah, I don't think they can go 5-0. I just still see it. This team's got to lose at some point with Josh Allen at quarterback.
I mean, it's shocking, but I think that all the analysts that lately have been saying Josh Allen's the real deal. He's finally the real deal. They've been talking shit about Josh Allen for a year now. Last year they roasted him the whole time.
For just cause.
Yeah. But I think that he had a strong offseason. Now he came back and he's just a monster. And Stephon Diggs going to that offense was just such a blessing for Josh Allen too, because obviously Cole Beasley is just the ultimate slot dude that's just always going to be there for him. John Brown has been pretty irrelevant in this offense this season, which is unfortunate because I was high on him in fantasy. But Stephon Diggs he's doing it big out there, and he doesn't have Adam Thielen to overshadow him either. Yeah,
I think I mentioned it before the season. I think it's Stephon Diggs is a great fit for this. Somebody with a big arm like Josh Allen. He has looked good. He's been really good this year. So we'll see how it goes.
I think Diggs has 8 20+ yard catches so far this season. He's he's leading the league in 20+ yard catches. So dude's a monster.
Yeah. Real quick, let's talk about the Seahawks last night. I know we'll wrap it up, but the Seahawks looked like shit all night except for the third quarter for a little bit, 3 or 4 drives. They came down and just scored every time. But the Vikings really just so I picked Seahawks to be a pretender and in our pretender. I just don't believe that they're going to win a playoff game with this defense. I don't care if Jamal Adams is out there. He wasn't out there.
Yeah.
Dude can hit hard. He can do a little bit of everything, but he's not enough. This defense has holes. Dalvin Cook had a heyday. He had 20 fantasy points in the first half. He had like 17 carries. They just kept feeding him, and but it came down to a fourth and goal from like the 4 or 5 yard line. Vikings went for it, which I respect. I think you have to. You want to. You're on the road. Get that few inches. You've been running it down their throat all night, but they stepped up for one play, and then, I mean, as soon as they stopped him, Russell Wilson just took command, and you just had to know that he was going to go win that game, which they did.
Yeah. You're definitely right about the Seahawks defense because both Dalvin Cook and Madison had just monster games.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't matter who you plug in a running back. They were just gashing him all night. Kirk Cousins had some – Thielen, he went off for a couple drives, had a couple touchdowns. I know you weren't on to pick. I think you are pretty big on the Seahawks, but what are your thoughts with that Seahawks going forward? Pretender or contender?
I think they're definitely a contender. They're definitely a threat in this league, but I think that they're a threat in this league because their offense gets it done every single game. Like you said, their defense has some holes, and their defense is just going to continue to just be mediocre at best. However, Russell Wilson is going to continue to just slam points on that board. I mean, they gave up 23 is the least amount of points that defense has given up this season. That was against the Dolphins. But they're scoring 27, 31, 38, 35, 38. They're scoring. Russell Wilson's going crazy with that offense, just slinging it. Chris Carson's just doing a hell of a job in the backfield. DK Metcalf is just an absolute stud.
Yeah.
So I think that the Seahawks are a contender as long as their offense stays healthy. If they lose, I know Chris Carson went down for a couple of games, they still did fine without him. But if they lose two of those pieces, this season's gonna be done for them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them go into play the Rams, play another a somewhat decent Cardinals team. If the Niners get it together, they're a team that knows how to win games. It's been that way for a few years now, so I can't hate on them too much for that. I try not to hate on them too much, but I just am super worried. I don't know if I'm the only person on the universe who's like, hello, like this team is like Ryan Fitzmagic came in. I know Ryan Fitzmagic plays well against the NFC West. I will tell you that. A little worried when the Rams have to play them this year. So we'll see how it turns out for them, but at some point, somebody's going to get those few inches and win that game for them, I think. So,
yeah.
But that's about all I got. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you go follow us on Facebook, Spotify. Check out our podcast there. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And, we'll keep on pushing out some content. Thank you guys for listening.